Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As you all well know, Terrell Owens got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame earlier part back in February. As you well know, I had already predicted that he was going to go into the 2018 class with Ray Lewis, Randy Moss, Earl Acker, Dawkins, and all them guys. But I already predicted that the year before that he had to be put in. Now what's come up is that T.O. is not going to make the enshrinement ceremony, right? He's going to celebrate it his own way. And everybody's making the mock talking about it and stuff like that. I'm like, this is what I expected T.O. to do. I didn't expect anything less from him. This is what I expect for T.O. to do. Because I'm not surprised by this the least bit. And I'm going to explain to you guys how come and why Terrell Owens does what he does and why he did what he did. And I'm going to start right now. I'm going to start with one of the main people that started talking about this first was that of, I saw Michael Irvin. They shot a commercial together, and he said he showed up with his jacket with all the stats on it and stuff like that or whatever. And then Michael Irvin's completely just says, I don't understand this guy, why he's not going to come after all the stuff he did now, this is that and the other. And Michael Irvin don't get it. Chris Carter, who likes to poke the bear, because I found that out about Chris Carter. Chris Carter has an issue with Terrell Owens because Terrell Owens, to my knowledge, from what I've seen, has nothing to say about Chris Carter, but Chris Carter always has something to say about T.O. So it's something going on there that he has personally against this guy, and I have no idea what it is, right? And then, of course, with the whole Randy Moss thing and stuff like that. And then all this. I told you guys, after he got snubbed the second year, I told you guys, I said, look, he will go in 2018. And I'm going to tell you why he's going to go in 2018. And I told you guys that. I said he's going to go in because they have to put him in. First and foremost, let me rewind this back here. I'm going to go back to Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin is a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? People say Michael Irvin, they knew because Michael Irvin got 3 rings. So that's going to put you in the Hall, especially if you got stats and you're one of the better receivers of your time. You follow what I'm saying? So Michael Irvin was going in the Hall of Fame. Michael Irvin, 6'2", 205, 210 pounds, physical wide receiver. He was one of the first physical receivers of that type of stature coming into the league. And he did what he did. Chris Carter, another first ballot Hall of Famer. But based upon his drug use and all that type of stuff that went on, that's what made him, which that shouldn't have any bearing on his play. Now, if Chris Carter couldn't have never made it, I get that. But the guy played ball. And you look at, he's the first ballot Hall of Famer. Randy Moss, first ballot Hall of Famer. Everybody knows T.O. is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, I'm going to tell you why Terrell Owens did what he did. Terrell Owens is self-made. All these guys are self-made to an extent. The point I'm making is Chattanooga, Tennessee. Who the hell ever heard of Chattanooga, Tennessee unless you live in Tennessee? Obscure college. Nobody heard of this guy. Almost similar to that of a Jerry Rice. Now you go back to Michael Irvin, fanfare. He's a high school All-American coming out of high school. So is Chris Carter. So is Randy Moss. Right? These guys went to major colleges. The first two, I'm dealing with that of Chris Carter and Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin, University of Miami. Chris Carter, Ohio State. Chris Carter's a bad boy. Point blank. Members watching them play and stuff like that. One hand catches the whole 9 yards. But you seen his football life special. You see what was going on with Chris. This, that, and the other. What went on with that guy or whatever. Knucklehead. He was a knucklehead. Point blank, he was a knucklehead. And everything. So was Michael Irvin to an extent. But Michael Irvin did what he did up in college. Won championships. Did his thing. Came into the pros and stuff like that. The thing that kept Michael Irvin out of the first couple of years or so was the fact of the off-the-field curricular activity, which should have no bearing on what he did on the field. But they kept him out. Same thing happened to Chris Carter, right? Now, when it came up to Randy Moss, we all knew some way, form, or fashion for Randy Moss, talking about straight cash, homie, pouring water on the referee, bumping a ticket writer in his car, marijuana, the marijuana use, or I play when I want to play, I take plays off, and all this other kind of stuff. Then with Ray Lewis and the whole thing, obstruction of justice charge, all that, getting arrested and whatnot. And see, this is where it comes into play. T.O. had no business. T.O. does not belong in that same class. T.O.'s, at least if I didn't do X, Y, and Z, my stats put me in the hall as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Point blank. If this is first ballot Hall of Fame, he's coming. Second ballot, okay, he probably said with third, it was ridiculous. Because everybody knew it was ridiculous that he did that. And that I guarantee you, T.O. said, how do you put me in the same class with them guys when them guys drug use, marijuana, cocaine, trouble with the law, in the whole 9 yards. T.O. come out of Tennessee, Chattanooga, worked his tail off, gets drafted. Okay? Gets drafted and everything, right? This is what Terrell Owens ends up doing, right? So he comes in, and the thing about Terrell Owens is that he said, like I said, all these guys are self-made, right? All these guys are self-made. And the thing about with him is that 38th overall, I want to say it's 119th pick, if I'm not mistaken, right? Out of there. And the thing of it is that Terrell Owens never got busted for drugs. Terrell Owens never got busted in a hotel for anything. He's never been arrested. He's never been arrested, okay? And with him never being arrested, never hit up for any of that kind of stuff. For any of that kind of stuff whatsoever, right? Chattanooga, he goes in the third round. He was the 89th pick. 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time first team, 3 times led the league in touchdowns. Now, in Terrell Owens' mind, and I know it because this guy comes from nothing. Like I said, Tennessee, Chattanooga. Then he goes to San Francisco, does the things that he does in San Francisco. Then later on, Philly, Dallas, and then with Buffalo and Cincinnati and all that kind of stuff. This guy is self-made. He learned from Jerry Rice, who came from another guy come from an obscure school nobody was going to take serious, right? Bust his tail, do all of the things that he does and whatnot in his whole career. Finishes up with 153 touchdowns, and you're going to leave him out the Hall of Fame. This man has never been to jail. Never been suspended for drugs. Never been caught up in a hotel room. Never been obstruction of justice. And you put him in the batch with the rest of them guys that did that. So you saying them guys, because Ray Lewis, they sit up there with Ray Lewis situation, right? They had to put Ray Lewis first because with Ray Lewis, what he did on the field outweighed what happened off the field. That's why Ray Lewis had to go in. Randy Moss, same with Randy Moss. He had to go in. Now, they played with Chris and Mike because they could. They played with Mike because of the whole cocaine thing and and plus Dallas them guys was wilding out. With Chris, he never really had that championship run or anything like that, but they always held that thing. They didn't suppose. So I'm saying at the end of the day, Chris Carter, Michael Irvin, supposed to both put in the Hall of Fame in their first years of eligibility. But between Randy Moss and Ray Lewis, there was no question. We had to put them in based upon their talent. And them guys' talent is just there as well. But they had to, and all of this is based upon not putting T.O. in with 153 touchdowns. And he's not done anything that Randy Moss did, nothing that Michael Irvin did, nothing that Chris Carter did. No cocaine, no weed, none of that. He has a falling out with his quarterbacks. Most competitive dudes are going to be like that, tell you these wide receivers, the divas, and all this kind of stuff. We get that, right? This is what I'm talking about. And these are the types of things, and that's why, and somebody like Terrell Owens, he holds a grudge. I mean, he's like that. So I'm not surprised about it. So he's like, how dare you put me in the Hall of Fame on the third trial with guys who got a obstruction of justice charge, guy that say I'm going to play whenever I want to play, caught with weed, right, squirting water on a referee, Moon in Green Bay, well, fake Moon, which I was over. I'm just naming these things because all this stuff's still ridiculous. Either way, they see but they put T.O. in the midst of this because that's why I said they had to put him in, because if they didn't put him in this time, they were going to like idiots. But they still, but see, T.O.'s thing, I'm gonna make y'all like, you know what? I'm not going to even come because I should have went in the first. I should have went in the first ballot. And for my 6 years of eligibility up, my first time, he should have already went. Okay, we made a mistake. Second, no, they made him go third time only because of the way T.O. is. But this is not surprise. I'm not surprised he's not going to come. Now, do I think he should go? Sure, why not? And then you can say what you want to say on that mic. But I understand why he's not going to go. Because with Terrell T.O. bust his ass to be where he was at. And he didn't get any trouble because of his competitive fire. He gets thrown under the bus. When he said, I've seen Jerry Rice say that, but nobody says anything about that. And that's where the problems comes in with him. Because of his competitive fire, and he wants the ball, and all of those things. And them guys, we don't need him for this, that, and the other. But between McNabb and between Jeff Garcia and between Tony Romo, those three quarterbacks will not be enshrined in Canton. Now, T.O. I'm sure probably could be a pain in the ass, but you get that ball to him, you already see what happens. You already see what happens. But the funny part about all three of those quarterbacks that I named will not be enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's one thing we do know. McNabb is not going to go. Romo is not going to go. And Jeff Garcia damn sure ain't going to go. T.O.'s going to be there. And, brother, if you ever see this, hey, man, I've been in your corner this whole time, bro. And I called it. But, do what you got to do. But at the same time, that's why he's not going to go. Because they did not respect him. But he did things the right way. He did things the right way, not got in any trouble. His trouble was like, the quarterback ain't get me the damn ball, and I don't like it. And y'all need to give me the ball. Telling the offensive coordinator, give me the damn ball. That's it. Not caught in the room with a bunch of cocaine and weed. Infidelity, if you want to throw that in there. More cocaine use, alcohol use, obstruction of justice, jokers getting murdered, suits not being found, and he has to go in with them guys there who's going in on the first round. Well, now like I said, Chris and Mike supposed to win in the first year of their eligibility after retirement. Because the stats put it up there, great receivers. T.O. didn't do anything them other guys did, and he should have went in first round based upon what he did on the field. He didn't have no issues off the field. You follow what I'm saying? So so you should already look at that. And so the side note, because I just got through talking about John Riggins on the last broadcast, right? Just got through talking about him. You do know that it's a story about John Riggins with Sandra Day O'Connor back in, I think, in 1985, right? Riggins had some drinks. He talks about it on his Football Life, on the Football Life show the NFL Network has. He had some drinks, did this. Long story short, this joker falls asleep drunk up under the table. He used to get drunk and hang out with the linemen, with the Hogs, little spot they used to hang out at the practice where they had beers and stuff at. But that's all fun and dandy. John Riggins got in based upon what he did in the playoffs because his career statistics are mediocre at best. But his run, and like I sit up there and I said, in a 5-year span, he scored over 62 touchdowns. And in his first 9 years in the league, all he had was 42. So I get that. But you take a look at his stats, and from top to bottom, they're mediocre at best, right? To an extent. He wasn't one of the top back, but what he did in that playoff run, I said, yeah. But I'm like, look at what went on, the character aspect of it. And we're talking about, when you talk about, Sandra Day O'Connor and what she was and all this kind of stuff. Think about this. And it's funny to me because when T.O. did that thing with the Housewives of whatever they call, I forget what it's called, that show that used to come on. And Sandra Day O'Connor is a retired associate justice. She's a Supreme Court. She was out in the Supreme Court. And it's crazy that John Riggins tells her to lighten up. Lighten up. Lighten up, Sandra, baby. Lighten up. That's good-hearted fun. That wasn't held against him at all. But T.O. in the time frame with that, I forget that whatever movie that show that come on where he was naked or whatever, and those little housewives or whatever that was on the show and stuff like that, or whatever it was called. Them guys got to, they made a big deal, tried to make a big deal about that. But that's what I'm saying. They moved the goalpost for T.O. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna just be the last of it here. Chris Carter needs to stop being messy. He being like a woman now. Cut the crap, man. Leave that man alone. If you ain't got nothing nice to say about that cat, don't say nothing about him at all. Just leave him be. Why you keep poking this cat? This cat ain't, obviously he don't even be thinking about you, but you constantly always dealing around with him. So stop poking the bear. Leave that man alone. That man in the hall. Point blank. And ain't nothing nobody can do. And you say you'll enjoy it even more than that. Fine. That's fine. Well, he ain't going to be there. But I'm just letting you guys know that this is why that's why it doesn't surprise me none. It doesn't surprise me none that he would do this, because T.O. has felt like he's been disrespected since the whole time since he's been in the league. And he's one of the greatest. He's going to, when you boil it down to the first 100 years in this league, he's going to go down as one of the top 5, top 10 wide receivers that ever played the game, and one of the top 20 players that ever played the game. If you just boil it down, top receiver, top 5, top players, probably top 20 if you get it right down to it. I'm not concerned about the one they did in 2010, because it doesn't matter, because you're talking about the first 100 years of the league, essentially. Because you can't say greatest of all time. Time is still going on. Hey, y'all, thanks for checking me out. Check me out over on Twitter, Untupman62. Everything Football 62. Check me out on YouTube. My joint, Everything Football 62. Leave a comment. Appreciate the love, and I'll be coming up with more things. As the season goes closer and closer, I will be putting more things. But I will be talking more about this Hall of Fame stuff. Y'all guys have a good one. Thanks.